Well, hi, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me in my shop here on May 8th. May 8th it is. And here's my next project. This is another radio that I'm going to try to do the minimum on to make operate. And so there's already a big hint on this radio as to what's going on with it. Works, but has a bad hub. Oh, thumbs up on that. I think we know what that's going to be all about. So let's take a look at the power cord here. This is very rubbery, very good material. Just leave it bundled up here. See any cracks? But I do see, something here. Oh my gosh, what is this? Hey, aren't you supposed to be outside in the sunshine? It's a little wet this morning outside, so until it dries up. Viking model 54-51. Licensed by the Canadian Radio Patents. Oh, you like this one, do you, Kat? Serial number, tube layout, 12, 12, 12, 12, 35, and 35. It's got 4 signal tubes in it. That makes it a one-step-up radio. It's a fair size. I can see bits of the antenna down here, so it's got an antenna going around. It says here phono input. Yep, there it is. Phono input. So this is a good one because the phono input could be used potentially for Bluetooth if you wish to. The general look of it, well, like a lot of these radios, it's been damaged on the top from water stains or something like that. But it has square corners, which means doing a restoration isn't impossible. It isn't too difficult, square corners, but you'd have to do the whole thing, I think. The only part that's really in rough shape is the very top, but if you were to sand that off and then refinish it alone, it would look weird. It just wouldn't look right. So sometimes I think to myself, these old radios need to have a little bit of wear and tear on them. Right? Am I being upstaged here? Is that what's happening? They need a little bit of wear and tear on them to make them look real. You're kind of blocking the view there, Kat. So, hums but works. Well, that's like an invitation to plug it in. Should we just plug it right in? What do you say, Kat? You say okay. Okay, let's just plug it right in. We'll see what happens. Of course, I'm not plugging it into a regular outlet. I'm plugging it into a current limited outlet. That's there's no power yet. So this is the tuning. Tuning is clunky here. Why is it clunky? So this knob is rubbing up against the cabinet quite hard. So it feels a little sticky in places. But I think it's just a knob rubbing right in here. These don't look like the original knobs either. I don't think. They just don't look right. They look okay though. Bits of dirt on here. That's damage there. This is a metal screen. And in a few places the paint has come off and some rust. Maybe some of this is dirt. But this is actual. The coating is actually off there. Maybe dab a little bit of white something on there and make it like kind of. If you could make that disappear and these couple disappear, this would look pretty good. Maybe the rest of them can wash off too. It's got speckles all over the cabinet. I suspect a lot of that would wash off. Okay. Well, it's plugged in, Jim. Here we go. Okay, so I'm feeding the power to the radio through a couple of dim bulbs over here. Look it up on the internet if you don't know what a dim bulb system is. Go dim bulb radio repair and it'll explain to you what I'm doing with these lights. Dun, dun, dun. Very good. The lights came on and went down right away. That shows the heaters on the tubes heating up. Now the bulbs may come on again. Where's the hum he was talking about? Where's the hum? This radio's working good. There's no hum. That's strange, isn't it? Why would it... This is working perfectly. That was the French station, which is difficult to pick up. That's usually my test case station. We'll go to 590 down here.
It really isn't big. And that's the thing I keep coming back to and looking at here is there's just a passive...
I'm done. It's fixed. It works.
You know, we've seen it with Morgan Riley where he
That's great. How come it has that note on it? Where did the hum go? Just on a whim, I'm going to plug this into a regular outlet here. Let's first give it the full voltage. No hum. It's extremely hum-free. You know, it's already working at a state where I'd be happy if I took a broken radio and got it to this state. It's already there. What am I to do with this? I don't think I have to do anything with it at all. I think that's the end of the video. Works but has a bad hum. I don't think so. Okay, we're going to try plugging this straight into a regular outlet. Why? Because I have a notion that maybe it'll hum there. Get some wire here, I can reach the outlet. Okay, down we go. Now, do you think there's supposed to be a light in here? I'm going to guess not. Turn it on. No, I don't see a light. Maybe there is a light in there. I don't hear any hum. Working better, if anything. It's possible. Plugging in a regular outlet may make it work a little bit better because of the grounding situation. I'm going to reverse the plug now. No difference. Oh my gosh. I gotta do something to it. A little bit of alignment to bring this over. If this is at 5.6, it should be at 5.9 right over here. In fact, wait a minute. As usual, they've got the numbers and the dots. Just a little bit of alignment here. So this must be the dot for 5.5. There's a little dash, a vertical dash there. I don't know if you can see that or not. That's marking where the pointer should start. That's exactly where it's starting. Trying to separate out the noise signal from the radio signal. That's 5.5, that's 6, so this is at, you know, I'd make that to be 5.8 or 580 instead of 590. Well, I mean, how much closer can you get? Where'd you go? Where'd you go just now? How come it got weak? Loads of volume. I don't think I should do anything to it. I think it's over. I think we're done. That's a quickie. Okay, how about this one? This one says, hums only. 99. This is March. This is a year ago, 2002. Somebody declared it to hum only. Hum only, eh? I like this one. It's got this big dial on it. It's turning. Feels a little funny. Again, it feels like it's rubbing against the cabinet here. Okay. Well, the cabinet's in very good shape. This would clean up. You take some good cleaner on this. This would clean up and look just like new. Knobs would clean up beautifully. They have an interesting color. Kind of matches the print in here. It's a cool looking radio for sure. Interesting how they've kind of done this. So see, I'm standing up here just like you, looking down at it, and you can see the dial fairly clearly. Some radios would be a little straighter, a little more out. You'd have to dip down to see them. That's an important consideration. What's it say on the back here? General Electric broadcast receiver model C403, 25 or 60 cycles. Canadian General Electric Company, built in Toronto. Disconnect power cord from outlet before removing chassis. Frequency range 540 to 1700 kilocycles. IF frequency 460, not 455. When new tubes are required, specify General Electric electronic tubes for what? For what performance? For performance. For, it's not very good in the camera, but it's not very good with my eyes either. Electronic tubes for maximum. That must be maximum. I don't know. It looks like minimum. It's maximum. Yeah, it's definitely maximum. Okay, maximum. This must be the fan shaw connector for an external antenna. Somebody's bent it right open. Like maybe they're hanging the radio from it or something. So the back is riveted to the chassis. Everything seems a little loose. Something seems a little loose. Thumbs only. Let's look underneath because I can see a big crack here. Oy! Smasharoonie. And special information kind of missing. One screw missing here. We better take this one. We better let this guy out. Let him out. Give him a run around. Wonder what happened to the corner there. Maybe somebody dropped it. The screws are, I'm sure, missing a washer. What's going on with that screw? Oh, the radio's falling inside the cabinet. Should have probably taken the knobs off first. But let's take them off now. That was easy. Easy also. Okay, radio. Come outside and play. It's a nice day out here. So the speaker is not coming. What is kind of holding on to this? It feels like something's holding on to it. Big sheet of asbestos inside here. Okay. It's not common to see asbestos in plastic cabinet radios. There's some kind of a stain here, and there's some kind of goop here which is dripped out of the radio onto here. So these two wires, this one's just pulled tight here. So these are coming right out of the output transformer, heading right up to the speaker. So I can't get the radio chassis out any farther, but I'm liable to disconnect the wires at the. Oh, you know what? I think they're on clip. They're on. I think they're on. They're on something here. Let's just see what I can do. Oh yeah, just falling right off. In fact, falling right, both of them right off. Grab it out. We can get a better look inside. There's no documentation in there, but there is asbestos, and you can see it's a loose asbestos here. So a couple things you can do about this. One is leave it. Just leave it. You know, this is not going to kill anybody. Another one is you can remove it, and then you have a couple problems. When you remove it, you have to dispose of it. When you remove it, you're going to generate fibers in the air. Anything you do to this, you're going to generate some amount of fibers, and the objective is to not have fibers in the air. What's it in there for? It's in there in case a component underneath the radio catches fire, and it won't start the cabinet on fire. This, of course, asbestos is rock. It's not going to burn. Some of these are kind of stapled into the wooden cabinet. This one appears to be, I don't know what. How did they put this in here? Maybe it's glued. Although it seems kind of counterproductive because glue, of course, burns. So how have they done this? Looks like it's just laying in here. So I've done different things. In some cases, I just leave it because what does it matter? For the most part, it's covered by here, and nothing's happening to make fibers come off it. If I do dispose of it, this amount of asbestos here where I live, and it's probably similar everywhere, is considered inconsequential. So you stick it in a plastic bag, like a grocery bag, then throw it in the regular garbage, and away it goes. It's not really a big deal. If I'm going to take this out of the cabinet, if I were to do that, I would go outside to do this. I wouldn't do it here in my shop, where fibers are going to be all over the place. I'm of an age where I don't think I have to be too concerned about breathing in asbestos, but then again, where it is, we might live to be 120, so maybe I better. 120? Oh my gosh. I'll only be this tall by the time I'm 120. So that's the cabinet with its asbestos. We'll set it aside over here. I guess the asbestos would be a bit of a problem when it comes time to clean the cabinet, because it would be great just to literally soak that cabinet in water. And then the asbestos would be soaked. That's another approach too, is you can wet down the asbestos. This will stop the fibers from coming off. Then you can kind of scrape it off, clean it up really good, instead of trying to work with it when it's dry. Those are the options. You got to pick your choice, what you want to try and do. It might vary from radio to radio. Okay, so what about this radio? I'll take a look at it. Well, so many tubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tubes. Wait a minute, didn't I read 6 on the back here? 1, 2, 3, no, just 5. Why did I... Oh, it's the other radio I looked at this morning. Yeah, the other radio had 6 tubes. This one only has 5. This will be the rectifier tube. This is almost certainly the output tube driving the speaker. We have the detector tube here. The antenna looks good. We have a small light here. And the other 2 tubes here, the IF amplifier, and then the front end tube up here. Okay, we'll look underneath. So let's tip it this way. So you can see a replacement part here. This looks original, or it could be a replacement too. It's a little loose in the clip, so I think this is probably a replacement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more capacitors. It's an unusual part right here. There's another one right here, same thing. I believe these are capacitors here, but I'm not sure what they are. I have a high wattage resistor sitting up here. I don't see anything that's blown up, burned up, or looks frightening. I wonder what would prompt this replacement. This is right up near the rectifier tube. I don't know offhand why this one's been replaced. Just one. Well, there's another one of these weirder capacitors here. 1, 2, 3 of these guys. Well, we can assume the capacitor that was in there shorted, I would guess. Shorted capacitors get a lot of attention. Open capacitors, maybe not as much as you might imagine. Let's hook this up to a speaker here in my shop. Let's see. Get down the lead here. Oh, I'm falling over. There we are. So this will connect the radio to a speaker I have in the shop here. I won't use the cabinet speaker. The 5-tube radios come with a risk that the cabinet may actually be live at 120 volts straight from the outlet. It may be, maybe not. Grabbing these knobs in that might be a little dangerous, especially the tuning knob. But you see, I've got this. It's going to be plugged into an isolation transformer. That's what this is going to, an isolation transformer. It's actually going to two of them. They're unnecessary overkill. So I cannot have a voltage reference to ground when I'm using a isolation transformer. It'd be no different than taking a battery, taking your voltmeter, hooking it up here, and the other lead sticking it into the ground and thinking your meter's going to show something from the battery. Of course not. That's ridiculous. Same thing here. But this is powered from a isolation transformer. There is no relationship between what's happening here and the earth. If I should touch this and stick my foot on our concrete floor, which I actually can't do, but if I could, all that would happen is I would shift the potential, I guess we could call it, of the chassis, the lead wire, and the secondary of the isolation transformer. I would shift it relative to ground. That's not making a lot of sense what I'm saying. I won't say too much more. The isolation thing goes away the moment you hook up a piece of grounded equipment. All my equipment is grounded in here. So as soon as you see me hook up a piece of test equipment and put the ground on somewhere, chassis, B minus, whatever it might be, the whole picture changes even though there's an isolation transformer. Okay, enough talking. Let's fire it up. I'm going to run the power to the unit through these two light bulbs. Switch is off, so we would expect nothing to happen, and nothing is happening. Okay, 117 volts. When we say go, it's got the word high pot written right there. High pot. That's a little odd. What's that word doing there? High pot. That usually refers to a type of test, a high potential test. Did they do something here? Some kind of high potential test? And then test it. High pot. I don't know what else that could mean. Okay, we're going to cut the power. Turn the switch. Now we're going to hit the power. The light may come on. And tubes may heat. And these lights may come on. This light came on briefly. I don't know if you saw it in the camera or not. Tubes are all lighting up. They all have to light up because they're in series. The heaters are in series, so if one's bad, they all stop. And we're waiting for some sound to come out of the speaker. There it comes. So there's a hum there. Yeah, is that a power supply hum? Well, this is neat. Can you see the light moving in the background? This is why this was a heavy tuning thing. Isn't that cool? So the light stays with the pointer. Hey, let's make this really cool here. Can we cool this up a bit? Let's see. Of course, it looks a little unrealistic in the... isn't that is neat. I like that. That is really cool. Got to be a selling point in the store. Oh, I got to have one of these. How did they ever make that work? It's a miracle. But I didn't hear much. I just turned the radio up and we're tuning it. This radio's working. 860. French station. Okay, we'll go turn it 90 degrees. We'll 109 volts. That's enough. Well, it's in English. It's located at 740 on the dial. There is a station at 740. But that's unusual to pick it up. Every station or every signal that I come across, there's a heterodyne pitch that comes down like that. I think that indicates a weakness in the suppression of signals, probably in a screen circuit. And what's happening is some of the IF output is coming back around. I think. This sets up a oscillating signal in the IF. And then as you tune the radio, you're sweeping the local oscillator and other stuff across this signal. Oh, I'm making it all up. That's it. Well, you know what? This radio's actually working fairly well, except for all the things that are preventing it from working really well. Definitely a lot more juice up at the high end. Okay, this guy, I think he's worth some effort here. It's largely working, but clearly that tone is a problem. And I think either just alignment would solve that, or the replacement of some key capacitors. Or what I'm more likely to do is replace all. I'm going to start replacing capacitors. I'm bound to do them all here. Yeah, I didn't really inspect this cord, but the cord looks just fine. Might even be a replacement cord. Pull off. Oh, that's it for the elastic band. Job done. So surprising to me, radio's not humming, even though it's got this paper cardboard type of capacitor in it. So I mean, it's a good chance this was a replacement, and it just hasn't met its end yet. It could be any one of these capacitors, but it could be this big one that's really responsible for quieting the screen circuit I'm suspicious about. Well, I'd say the next step would be study up the schematic and see what we can see from that. Then it's clearly a couple of steps. First step, replace those capacitors. Next step, align the radio. Not too much more than that. I don't want that touching there. Very good. Okay, where are we here? Today's a sunny day. And a big day for me because my Dwarf 2 telescope is going to be delivered here today. You can look that up on the internet if you want. Dwarf 2 telescope. And so I'm going to be focused on that. I don't know how much more I'm going to do here today. This is the second radio I've looked at. I'm going to leave all the work for tomorrow. Or the next cloudy day, really. So thanks a lot for watching this video. And see you on the next one.